Oh my gosh, I am so excited because we are reaching Christmas week and next week's session with Kara is going to be super amazing. Though I'm gonna be on Christmas holidays, so you guys might not see my pretty face, but I wanted to like pamper you all with my amazingness. So here I am. Uh, Hello everyone, and welcome to your first step towards lasting change. This is a conversation that we are going to be having around the world of neuroplasticity, which is an absolutely favorite topic of mine, which I feel like we have just started to scratch the surface with how much amazing information exists out there and how much is consistently being researched as well. But before we dive into all of that, and if the word neuroplasticity is making you go, what the damn hell does this even mean? We're gonna get there. We're gonna share the definitions. We're gonna have some fun activities around it. Not too many, but a few beautiful metaphors and analogies, because why not? With that, let's get started. I would love to introduce you to this wonderful space, which is the Genetic Edge Coaching Lives. We are the Genetic Edge Coaching team. Kimberly is one of our founders who's not here with us today. Invite Kara and Vicky to go around the room before I kind of jump back in again and just introduce yourself very briefly to whoever's watching this live or replay.
Well, I'll go first. I'm Kara Jean. I do taking care of business. I dove into epigenetics of leadership now we're 5 or 6 years ago and absolutely fell in love with it. Met these amazing humans, partnered with a geneticist, and then came up with this course. And the more I lean into this, the more the world makes sense, right? The things that I recently, but real brief, recently, I've been rereading the Four Agreements, and when you start blending that with neuroscience, it aligns in a really fun way. And so I'm excited that you're going to talk about neuroplasticity today because that's
Let's
right
go.
there.
Let's go, let's go, let's go. Vicky, would you like to go ahead and introduce yourself as
Yes,
well?
hi, I'm Vicky Stengo, one of the co-founders as well. And I am so excited for you to be here, Paul, as well, and everybody else that has joined us. And I'm very much into the healthcare and science background. I love learning about the epigenetics and how the traits mesh together with, how we're wired and that kind of thing. So I do a lot of movement and healthcare and just trying to get people moving, just like our atoms and molecules that keep moving. So now we're going to put all that together. So thanks. And
Oh,
I'm so glad to meet these ladies and be a part of this team. Woohoo!
woohoo, let's go. I absolutely love that. Okay, I would love to introduce myself as well. I'm one of the four amazing co-founders of this beautiful team, Genetic Edge Coaching. And what I love doing is supporting people, multi-passionate, ambitious dreamers in managing their stress and preventing burnout and making it fun. One of the biggest reasons why I decided to be a part of this team when Kara introduced me to all the amazing people who were working on this, I was like, oh my God, imagine the information, the knowledge we can get from understanding how we operate on a very behavioral, very genetic level, and being able to utilize that to propel ourselves forward, to utilize the elements that will push us and let go with peace of the elements that don't, so that we can keep moving forward. And that is why this particular topic about neuroplasticity is so important and powerful to me. I'd love to remind you all that this amazing session is a part of our 4 series session that we are doing for December, where we are giving you sneak peeks of our amazing course Genetic Harmony, which is an 8-weeker where we actually dive into everything that we are talking about and more, and understand how the world of behavioral genetics and coaching kind of come together and how we bring it all together. Now, that was a lot of introduction. I know you're on the edge of their seat, kind of figuring out how is this all going to make sense. So let me kind of dive deeper into that. Now, we've been talking about neuroplasticity. What does it actually mean? For a really long time, a lot of the knowledge that we had around our brains and around how we operate, a lot of times we kind of assumed that once we were born, our brain was considered to be completely formed with no ways to kind of change it, and people kind of just assume that the way that you're born is how you're going to continue living your entire life. And that was true for a really long time, until scientists discovered that, ooh, we can shift. Like, nature is not the complete answer. We can actually nurture behavioral traits, we can nurture how we operate as an individual. And this was a conversation that we actually had in previous week's session, which was the conversation around nature, nurture, and finding balance. But we kind of figured out that our brain is malleable, the way that we operate is flexible, it is not set in stone. And what we are born with is not the only tools that we have to use for the rest of our life. We can use it, polish things, and work things out and actually make it better. And so neuroplasticity was kind of like worked upon, researched upon, and it came into being. What that essentially means is the ability to form new neural pathways, not the pathways that we have had for a really long time from when we were born, from when we were a kid. I feel like when we are kids, we are like sponge. We are taking in everything from around us, from society, from how our family is operating, how the people closest to us are operating, what the media is showing us, what the world is showing us, and we soak it all in. And we have neural pathways that is built that tell us how we need to operate in specific situations, why we are operating in specific situations. And we kind of get so used to the operating process that it becomes our go-to system. But what we don't realize is we can create new neural pathways. And the way that I kind of explain this is, have any of you read the poem by Robert Frost, The Road Less Traveled? Well, yeah, it's a really good poem. And for those who haven't read it, it actually talks about this person kind of coming at a fork in the road with one path that is filled with shrubs and trees and rocks, and it is not at all like the smooth pathway, whereas the other pathway is like this clean cut pathway that is, cleaned out. There are no shrubs in the way. It's easy to walk on. You can see that there is a clear path that you can follow. And the entire conversation around that poem revolves around, do I take the path that has been traveled by people for all our life? So many have traveled that path for so long that their steps have paved the way for real. Or do I actually travel the road less traveled? Do I go on this adventure? Do I go on this journey where I don't know where it is going to lead me? There is the known, and then there is the unknown, where I don't know where it is going to lead me. And do I take the road less traveled? And the reason why I love to use this kind of metaphor when it comes to talking about neuroplasticity is because we, by default, because we are so used to operating in a specific way, keep using the road that has been traveled often. So much so that we don't even realize that the road has been paved and we are walking down that road. We see a situation and our instant response to it is, oh yeah, this is how I have to operate. You don't think, you don't sit back and reflect and go, should I actually do this or not? And we do this a lot of times. It's just how we operate, right? Like, our brain is like, she always follows this path, so we don't have to waste our energy thinking about it, which is understandable. Our brain is trying to make sure that we operate as quickly as we can, make decisions, and live life as efficiently as we can. But then there are moments where we realize, oh, I have been stuck in my comfort zone for a really long time, and I crave this beautiful adventure. I crave this treasure at the end of the road, and I want to go after it. The road that I usually travel doesn't take me to the treasure. I need to go on a new road. I need to take this new adventure. Can I actually do it? And so you kind of step back and you're about to stretch. And so obviously there's going to be some friction where it goes, fear of the unknown. Do I really want to do it? It's crazy. Like, what if I trip and fall? What if the bushes and shrubs have insects in it that is going to bite me and I'll end up in the hospital instead? Like, we have a lot of crazy fears coming up, understandable, but that's what makes it so exciting. Neuroplasticity talks about how once you figure out that this is the path that you want to take, and you keep taking that path, and you keep taking that path, and you keep taking that path multiple times, the new path that you want to pave for yourself, the new behavioral trait that you want to choose, the new destination, the new way that you want to operate, the new mindset that you want to work from, once you keep utilizing that and repeating that multiple times, your brain doesn't even think. It will break down the road of the old mindset belief. It will break down the road of the old way that you used to operate, and it will pave the way for this new way for you to operate. Very soon, the road less traveled becomes the road that you travel on without even thinking about it. Because that's how our brain operates. It works on repetition, and that is one of the biggest factors when it comes to neuroplasticity. We actually talk a lot more about, there are so many different factors that we dive deeper into as to how we can, choose what behavioral trait we want to operate from, and figure out what the road that we want to travel looks like, and how to ensure that we strengthen the neural pathway, ensure that it becomes the road that we travel a lot. For the first few times, obviously, it is going to be a bit like, let me go back to the road that I used to travel on earlier. Let me go back. It's easier. It's the path of least resistance, right? But then soon, if you keep sticking to it and if you keep traveling on it, your brain is like, this is how she wants to operate. And it gets stronger and stronger and stronger until that is the way that we want to operate. Is this landing so far? Does this make sense? Okay. Okay. Let me know if it doesn't, because I am a rambler and sometimes I ramble. So, but yes, once again, repetitions is one of the best ways to strengthen neural networks and neural pathways. Kara, I know you wanted to say something.
I just want to make sure that Paul knows that if he runs into questions, that we definitely want to answer them. So if anything's popcorning in your brain, just be like, I got a question. We want to answer it.
Awesome. Then let's dive a bit deeper into how we can actually make this into a real life. So when we have the conversation, like, why is this important in the world of what we are doing at Genetic Harmony? Because we have conversations about behavioral traits, we have conversations about choosing how we want to operate, we have conversations around nurturing the way that we want to operate. And once we choose our behaviors, once you kind of figure out what behavioral traits you want to go on, you create the pathways for you to walk on, it gets easier for you and your nervous system to integrate this as the path of least resistance, this course of action. Whenever a situation arises, you operate from this behavior as opposed to the other one. An easy example of that would be, and I actually want to invite you all to join me on this beautiful adventure, but an easy example of what I would love to share is how I have been in reflection mode. As the year comes to an end, I'm actually taking time off to reflect properly. And I asked myself, what is one of the things that I want to leave behind? And the biggest thing that came up for me was, self-doubt. Self-doubt and showing up as my authentic, crazy, chaotic self online. Like, a lot of people know me and my energy, and they're like, oh my gosh, Madhurima, we love it. But oftentimes that doesn't really translate online, because I'm like, what people are. And so every time I'm posting something, I'm often like writing and then deleting, writing and then deleting, framing it so that it aligns with how people will respond to it in a specific scenario. And one of the other things that I kind of want to replace this self-doubt with is confidence and clarity of being myself online, no matter what. And the way that I am doing that is, every time I go to post something, I write down the first draft. Whatever chaos comes out, comes out. I refine it in terms of grammar and make sure that it is, understandable, not like me rambling, but like something that makes sense. And then I post it without thinking about it too many times. Now, eventually there will come a point where I don't even have to like think about the entire process of, oh my God, no, you can't delete this, Madhurima, keep writing, post this. Eventually there will come a time where I pick up my phone and I go blah, 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 post. Right. And I've been doing it for the past 4 years. It's not a journey that is new to me entirely. I was an introvert. I didn't even speak to people. Like, this used to be a whole stressful situation where I would be like, oh my God, how do I talk to people? What if, craziness, chaos. And not the good chaos, the bad chaos, which makes you go, oh my gosh, everything's crashing and burning, and I'm at the center of it all, holding a mug and saying this is fine, you know. But I have gotten to the point where I'm used to this, where I have traveled the road less traveled a few times in the past before kind of coming back to, this is how I need to show up, this is how people will respond to it, and this is how I make myself relatable. And Now I'm in a space where I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna post it. If people align with it, amazing. If they don't, not an issue. This is my space, this is my work, and I get to show up like this. And so, having said that, I hope this is aligning so far. I hope this is landing so far. It makes sense. I would love to share with you a couple of reflection questions that you can either unmute and share with us on the screen, or if you'd like to, you can also post it in the chat, or if you don't want to do any of that, just grab a book, make notes, and keep it for yourself. But my very first question for you is, what was the biggest thing that held you back this year? If you think about it. And I'm putting that in the chat as well, so that um we don't have to, like, for anyone who wants to read it out a couple of times. But yeah, what was the biggest thing that you held you back this year? You can think about some amazing things you were going to do, and then this big thing held you back and you went, ah, and then you stopped yourself from doing it.
Paul, you got one? Go first.
I'm worrying about the election.
That's
Yeah.
fair. So what held you back during this time? What made you go, oh, like, I want to do this, but I can't do it? Wait, I think. Oh no.
No, just waiting for the resolution so I would know what the next year looks like.
Please, can we have a little bit of a plan so that I know what to prepare for, right? Regardless of your thoughts, there is preparation that needs to happen. Yep, I get that.
Fair. That's fair. Kara, Vicky, you want to share anything?
So actually mine kind of aligns with what Paul says, although non-political, same concept. It's one of the things that continues to hold me back is this perfectionism in systems. Like, I need plans. I need understanding. I need contingencies that I can put into place. And sometimes it will literally hold me in my tracks because I'm so busy figuring out what the plan is, instead of doing the thing. Yeah.
I guess
That's
for me too, would be thinking too much, too deep, too intently, and the perfectionism getting in the way and putting on the brakes. I'm like, oh man. So, and that's with a variety of things that's going on in my life too. But also teaching dance and trying to get the movement just right and just perfect for the opposite person, whether you're a lead or a follow, and just trying to, I paralyzed myself. I procrastinated, paralyzed myself. And now the more you do it, the easier it gets. So yeah, you just have to quit thinking so much.
That's fair. That's absolutely fair. Okay, I'm gonna follow it up with my next question. And the way that I want you to think about this question is, the question is, share one behavior you wish to shed this year that held you back, and think about how it aligned with the biggest thing that held you back this year. So, and when I say shed the behavior, oftentimes we have like so many emotions of like, how can I shed this? This is a part of me, craziness. And we are not letting it go from a space of like, I hate you, you messed up my life, you suck. Never show your face in front of me again, and all of the, like, it's not you, it's me, kind of like breakup pointers and all of that jazz. But rather from a space of like letting it go with peace. Any behavioral trait that held you back, letting it go with peace, with understanding. So share one behavioral trait you wish to shed this year that held you back.
Procrastinating.
Say what?
Procrastinating. I need to get back into doing things.
Yeah. When you slow down, it's hard to start back up again. It really is. Yeah.
That's fine.
Mine would be investing in non-reciprocal relationships. I like to invest in people, and I am learning that when I invest in reciprocal relationships, it's just better.
Understandable, yeah. You are not consistently giving from your cup without receiving anything in return.
Which attaches to that need for perfectionism systems and yep, that tracks.
That tracks, yeah. Vicky, what about you?
I guess just kind of like with Paul said too, is the procrastination and just, that perfectionism just kind of stops me in my tracks. And I'm just like, well, if it's not perfect, I'm not going to do it yet. And just trying to get past that perfectionism and doing it as well as I can, just do it as well as I can and go with the flow and see what happens. So yeah, the procrastination I want to get rid of too, and the perfectionism, because they go hand in hand so much. So
Oh, yeah, hashtag progress over perfection. I love that. Okay, now we kind of already answered this, but I want to still ask this question, which is share one behavior you wish to incorporate next year. And I would like you to think of it as whatever you have shed, whatever you're letting go of for this current year, there is a space that will be created in this, right? A lot of times what happens is if we don't fill the space, the old behavior comes back. It's easy to come back. It's in our bones. It's the way that we operate has soaked into our very DNA at this point, right? And so it's understandable for us to go back to how we used to operate. So our goal is to, when we let something go with peace, to fill up that space with a new action, with a new way to operate, with a new way to kind of direct our energy and focus and intention. So share one behavior you wish to incorporate next year, which will essentially be, I know replacing sounds so hard and so harsh, but replacing the behavior that you don't want to exist and have and continue to take forward next year.
Listen to others. I tuned out the world this last year.
It was a big year.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a chaotic year.
I don't know that the chaos will ever end. I think I have said that it's chaotic
Mhm.
far too many years of my short life. So I think that that's par for the course. But yeah. Oh, I love that. Listen to others. Mine would be the grace that I give to others to have a little more of that for myself, right? Like if I would accept whatever level from them, that I could also deliver that level.
I love that. I love that. Vicky, how about yourself?
for me, mindfulness, just trying to stay mindful in the present moment, because I'm thinking too far in the future or too much in the past, and that I need to just kind of be in the present moment and just stay in center focus. So, but yeah, sometimes my mind races too far in the front and too far in the back. So
That's understandable and yet such a beautiful result. Thank you for sharing that. And I love it. Let's go. And so I guess this is what we are talking about. Now that you have a behavior, my final question for you is how do you want to ensure that you operate from this behavior? What is the one thing that you will do every single time an opportunity presents for you to operate from this new behavior as opposed from the old behavior? What is the one thing you will do to ensure that you operate from the new one? Yeah.
For me, it's just I need to get off of prejudging people. And that's a hill to climb.
Yeah. What I heard there is in your goal to be listening to people is to be able to listen without getting mental about it, right? Use all that good judgment because your brain's going to do it, but don't judge them. Yeah.
I do. There was this one post where someone said this, and it has stuck with me since my teenage years. And it was the way that we first react to a situation and judge a situation is how we are programmed to react and respond to it. And then after, the second thought that we have, the second response that we have to a specific situation is how we choose to react, how we choose to judge a particular situation. And it has stuck with me because I used to carry so much guilt around being like, "Oh, how could I think like that? This is what I was like not trying to think about. This is how I was not trying to operate from. And I'm doing the same thing again and again and beating myself up about it." But that one post really shifted how I responded, because I was like, yeah, that is my go-to mechanism. And I yet still choose to operate from the second one. So yeah, no, that's fair. I really love that, Paul. Thank you for reminding me of that beautiful host once again. But yeah.
And as far as brain pathways, since we're talking about neuroplasticity and neurogenesis today, what you just described is the recognition of the brain pathway. So that first response is usually a pre-programmed brainstem amygdala response. And that pathway is like the deep trained pathway. But the second voice, that's your frontal cortex. And the more you listen to that, the more you pull the pathway to your frontal cortex. Yeah. I'm actually going to steal Paul's idea of listening. I think that might be a great way for me to lean into grace for others and myself, right? How to just listen, ask them what they need, and then show up that way. Takes all the weight off of me.
Yeah, I love that. How about yourself, Vicky?
For me, yeah, trying to focus on the present moment and just, you know, whether it's listening, you know, for things close by, far away, whether it's just looking at my surroundings, whether it's just, you know, touching my hand and just kind of feeling, you know, how that, you know, how warm and cold it is or whatever. Just trying to center myself in the present moment and don't let things around me frustrate me or you know, startle me or bring me down. So just trying to focus on the center and focus in the present moment, because yeah, my mind can race like nobody's business with all the different tasks going on. So yeah.
Can I share a tool? This might actually work for Vicky with trying to be in the moment, and Paul also for the listening without judgment, right? So it's called the zoom in, zoom out technique. And before you get into a situation, kind of go zoom in, like you have a magic camera, and that you zoom in on your life, like down to the nitty gritty. How are you feeling inside your chest? How are you feeling inside your body? What are the thoughts that are going on in your brain? Zoom right in, like real close to you. And then zoom out and see the room that you're in, zoom out and see the building that you're in, zoom out and see the street that you're on, zoom out and see the city that you're in, zoom out and see the county that you're in, the country, the continent, out until you are gazing at yourself from out in outer space. And then continue to zoom out until whatever was feeling attached when you were zoomed in snaps. And that when you feel that cord snap, you have now zoomed out enough to see that you are a sparkle in the universe of sparkle, right? And it kind of helps put life back, and then you can zoom back in and be present where you are, but with that detachment, with that like healthy detachment.
Love it. Thank you.
I absolutely love that. Oh my gosh, that was amazing. Awesome. But yeah, this essentially brings us to the end of our beautiful, or like my part of the workshop. I would love to open up the space for any questions. Before we do, I wanted to remind you once again that this is a part of the Genetic Harmony course. We are giving you sneak peeks throughout the month of December. And next week, Cara Jean, our resident cutie pie, I'm sorry, that was absolutely inappropriate, but I'm getting into the holiday cheer, is going to be talking about, once again, kind of an adjacent conversation around the world of neurotransmitters. And it's going to be really, really fun. Whenever we share this replay with all of you all, we will also attach a link where you can register for that session as well, so that you can join all of us for the final round of the December cheer and the December series. And I would love to invite you to check out the Genetic Harmony course. The link is in the chat right now. We are opening up space for our second cohort, and we would love to see you there. With that, yes, questions. Give me questions so I can answer them. Sorry.
I don't. But thank you for your time today.
Thank you for being here.
Thanks
Really
for being
appreciate it.
here.
Yeah. And if anyone has any questions after
Just a
watching
question
this
for Paul.
video, yeah.
Did you have any popcorn ideas? Did anything spring up in hearing this information?
Well, no, maybe not popcorn per se, but the feel of support for change.
Yay.
Love
We're so
that.
glad you're here.
Yeah.
I'm sad that you feel you stepped away from life, but I'm so excited that you come be part of my life. Thank you for that. Awesome.
Awesome. Alrighty. With that, yeah, as I was saying, if anyone has any questions after watching the replay, feel free to reach out to us on our email, hello@thegeneticedgecoaching.com, or just comment underneath the YouTube video and we'll get back to you. Thank you for being